shouldn't do a performance and then afterwards, or at least when we're doing it, don't want to be relaxed or, bored. We should give something of ourselves.
Welcome to the Dreams of Consciousness podcast. If you'd be so kind, would you mind introducing yourself?
My name is Adam. I'm the drummer of Orm.
And Adam, how would you describe the music of Orm?
Well, it's a kind of black metal, I guess, with lots of progressive elements and quite an epic scope. So the songs are quite long, 20 plus minutes typically. And yeah, has lots of varied structure and lots of dynamics.
And I should mention that Orm is based in Denmark. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. Copenhagen, Denmark.
When people think of Scandinavia, when they think of Northern Europe and black metal and death metal, they think of a specific sound. Would you say that being from Denmark has influenced your sound at all?
Yeah, I guess in a certain sense. Yes. I'm not sure how, but I think it's hard not to be influenced by the location that you're in and the kind of the culture that you're seeped in, both the other bands that's on the scene here in Copenhagen and Denmark, but also, the geography and the landscapes and stuff. Our previous album was very much about, or at least the lyrics were about the island of Bornholm, where at that time, 3 of the band members are from, which has kind of a different kind of nature and landscape than Copenhagen. So for that record, we used lots of locations and scenery from that island to kind of inspire us.
Would you mind telling me a little bit about the history of Orm and how you guys knew each other and what led you to form the band?
Yeah, so we played in another band before that was called By the Patient. I joined in 2008, and these were the same guys more or less that's in Orm now, except a few people left over the years. But the 3 of us that remain, we've been playing together since 2008. And By the Patient disbanded in, I think, 2015, and we formed Orm instead. The remaining members formed Orm and tried to go in a kind of a different direction.
When you say a different direction, how would you describe the difference between By the Patient and Orm?
So By the Patient was more like melodic death metal. So that was like a completely different type of expression in a sense, except it was called still metal. So for lots of people, it would be the same maybe, but but if you're a metalhead, then it's definitely not the same, right? So,
I mean, By the Patient was very traditional in the sense that the songs were in the 3 to 4 minute range, right?
Yeah, 4 to 5, I guess mostly. There was still some stuff going on, but it was mostly melodic death metal with lots of cool riffs and stuff, and to drink beers and bang your head stuff mostly. And Orm is more like sit back and drink some wine.
I'm curious, why did you guys decide to go in this direction, to explore this more epic, atmospheric sound?
Well, I think we kind of wanted to double down on some of the things that inspired us and also do something that's more like meaningful to us. It's kind of more of a focus around the art of this kind of music and not just so much the entertainment value in a sense. So we wanted to kind of explore some of these more complicated song structures and dynamics, different ways of expressing ourselves, I guess.
Okay. In terms of the song structures and the dynamics, how does that all typically start for you guys? How does a song start for Orm?
That's a good question. So I guess oftentimes we have a few riffs that Simon usually writes, and then we kind of stitch them together in a sense. Working from there on, we maybe change them around or we write some new things. And then we start typically recording ourselves. We have a small studio. So we listen it back and do some more iterations. And we have a big whiteboard and we'll start maybe plotting out some kind of structure and some kind of dynamics for the course of the whole composition. And then we just do lots of iterations, basically record, listen back when we're at home, and maybe start writing some lyrics, but it's usually pretty late. But maybe we start having a theme, like a lyrical theme. Maybe we get that pretty early, so that kind of also guides some of the like arrangements.
So before you get to the whiteboard stage and plotting out the song structures, do songs usually start with Simon's riffs?
Yeah, usually, yeah, for sure.
Would you say that for Orm, the riff is the most important part of the song, or the most important basis of the song, that everything starts from there?
Yeah, I mean, at least that's where, I mean, so if you don't have, I think it's hard to make a great song if there's nothing like memorable in a sense. Like, I think you need some good themes. You can't just get away with only dynamics and arrangements and stuff like that. I mean, maybe you can, but not for that many minutes at least. You need to have something to latch onto. And it's important that the riffs are good and kind of resonate with the listener. And then we usually, I mean, so yeah, we need to have that. We need to have something memorable. We can't just we're not a doom band, so we can't just play 4 chords forever. We want it to be interesting the whole time around. I mean, and some riffs, like the end of the second song on the new album, that's basically just 1 chord for 6 minutes or something. But that's not the way we started that song. We didn't start off with that. That part kind of revealed itself once we had all the other stuff, and we wanted to end it off in a way that made sense.
I'm curious, when you're going through the whiteboard phase and the different iterations for song structures. Well, I guess my question would be, how many different iterations do you have at that stage? How many different options do you try as far as song structure goes?
Well, quite a few. I don't think I counted it, but certainly quite a lot of, I mean, back and forthing all the way up until, when we record it, and also when we produce it and mix it. At that point, it's also sometimes happens that we might change stuff around a little bit if possible. Usually it doesn't, but it has happened before. So it's up until, I mean, the very last second, basically, we'll change it up if we think so.
If you're changing things up to the very last second, when do you feel that a song is done, or when do you feel that a song doesn't need any more changes?
It's typically when we run out of time. So we usually set some deadlines for ourselves, and then we also exceed them. But at some point, we can't exceed them anymore. So at that point, we have to constrain ourselves, which is also good, I think.
Do songs sometimes change after the recorded versions?
So you mean when we perform them live?
Yeah.
Sometimes, yes. I mean, so we're not completely. Let's see. I mean, yeah, they do for sure. Sometimes we'll cut off a bit in the live version, like for example, this 6-minute long outro on the second song. We do cut that a bit short when playing live because we also want time to play the other songs, basically. Usually you have only a fixed number of minutes to play. So we do cut that off, and I mean, yeah, some of the things are difficult to perform live in a constrained setting, like just some small piano underlying some of the themes. And yeah, we just can't really do that while we're playing. So the piano's not there. And also there's some trumpet and violin, and we do bring them along when we can, basically. But not always.
Do you mean the actual performers who did the trumpet and violin on the album?
Yes, if they're available, yeah. We have played with them a few times, and also with others who played the parts.
You mentioned that songs for Orm these days, especially on the last two albums, have tended to edge past the 20-minute mark. Why is that?
Well, I think it's because we think it's fun to write long songs. So it kind of makes you think differently about the song structures and the arrangements. And I think it gives you some other tools that you can use when composing. So you don't have to have, the same. I mean, we got kind of tired of just when you have 5 minutes, there's just only so much you can do. In a sense, you need this intro, and then once that's done, you need the main riff or something, and maybe you have time for a quiet piece, and then back to something explosive again, and then it's done. It just became constraining for us, I think, to only have that few minutes for us to kind of unfold the stuff that we wanted to do. So instead, we kind of just said, well, what's the maximum number of minutes on an LP? And that's just about 24. And then we said that's the limit basically for the songs. So they don't have to be that long. Like the third side of the new album is 19 minutes or something, or 20. But they're typically, they're around 23, 24 minutes, right? So yeah, it's just to give us flexibility to do the stuff that we want to do, basically.
Do you have the experience of listening to the album on vinyl in mind as you're writing the albums?
Yeah. Yes. So that's kind of the main mechanical format that we kind of target. The other two albums were also released on vinyl first and later on CD. This time around, we made both CDs and cassette tapes, and then the vinyl is now waiting because of the very long production times. So it's not out yet, but you can pre-order it.
But if given a choice, would you prefer people listen to the album on vinyl?
Yeah, sure. Yes.
Why is that? Why is the vinyl version the preferred experience?
So of course people are completely free to do whatever they want, right? And in the end, I guess it's mostly about the experience for me. So I really like listening to vinyls because it's a conscious act that you put it on, and you can hear all the mechanical pieces moving around. And when you set it on, you to go and do something completely different. You're not sitting on the computer or working or anything. I mean, of course you can do that, but that's not the way I do it, right? So it's like you're caring for yourself when you take your time, put on a vinyl, sit down, relax, and open your ears and your mind to the music instead of it being some kind of background noise on your computer while you're, I don't know, playing Diablo 3 or whatever.
So let's speak about this album. Would you mind saying the title for me?
Yeah, Intet, Altet.
And what does that translate to in English?
It translates roughly to the nothing, the all.
So like nothing and everything, right?
Yeah.
I have a long history, a long tradition of mispronouncing things on this podcast. So I'm going to attempt to...
Yeah, I mean, it's also not fair, right?
Well, I speak to a lot of bands from Scandinavia, for probably obvious reasons. But I enjoy stretching myself. Let's see if I can get this one right. Intet, Altet. How's that?
Yeah, that's great.
So, Intet Altet is the name of the third album from Orm, and it was released at the end of September by Indisciplinarian. We spoke about your songwriting process in depth. Going into this album, was there anything different that you guys wanted to try?
Yes, we wanted to expand again on the format, so we made the double album this time, and we wanted to improve our arrangements and songwriting. So we worked a lot more with kind of middle ground dynamics in a sense. So instead of it being an ear, it was maybe more extreme fury and then some quiet guitars. So this time around, we also try to have some more finer grained dynamics. So you don't have just silent or powerful, but you also have something in between that you can kind of, you can also listen to. And then we, of course, wanted from the very beginning to have this full page or full side, of the vinyl being this mellow track. So we had so many nice mellow riffs, basically also left over from Ia, previous album. And instead of it just being punctuations between blast beats, we kind of wanted to unfold it in its own right. So that's why we really wanted to have this longer, mellow kind of piece.
So we spoke about the way you and your bandmates arranged the songs on the whiteboard, and you mentioned that it was intentional that you guys had the third track of the album be a mostly mellow song. Is the dynamics and the flow of the album as a whole also as important to you as the arrangements of the songs?
Yes, this time around it was, right? So we have the theme of the album is a concept album, right? So it's about these 4 stages of life. And it was very intentional that the music kind of fit with the theme, with the stage that is associated with. And the third stage is one of the hermit, the recluse, who isolates himself to ponder the books and the philosophy and life and the impending death that he's about to experience, which may or may not be also a kind of transcending into a different realm or whatever, basically. But in any case, it's a silent stage where you do not speak. So that's why we wanted to have no lyrics, and we want to have this mellow music for that one.
How soon into the writing process did you guys have the theme?
It was pretty early, I think. Yeah, I mean, it was kind of in a sense accidental, I guess. Well, maybe not, but we wanted to make a double album, basically. That's where it started. And then we stumbled onto this 4 stage of life kind of philosophy from some Hindu texts. And we're definitely not Hindu or anything, but we thought it was pretty interesting. So we kind of used that and our own interpretation of that kind of those books and those scriptures as a frame around us. And then we found that it actually also kind of resonated with us personally.
did you guys actually start working on the album?
So I guess it's around, I don't know, spring 2020. In a sense, we're supposed to go on a tour around Denmark and a little of Scandinavia and some of Europe back when the pandemic hit in March. And so we were kind of, hamstrung a lot by that. We were supposed to go out and play the previous album a bunch of times, and we didn't really get to do that. So we, of course, wanted to start writing something new instead, since we were anyway grounded. And it was actually turned out to be pretty difficult for us for various reasons. So we spent a long time kind of being in the wild. So I think it's actually just from the end of 2021, maybe not, from the end of 2020, we kind of started for real on the album. Yeah.
I'm not that familiar with what the COVID restrictions were in Denmark. Were your songwriting sessions impacted at all by social distancing or anything like that?
No, we chose to prioritize that we could meet the three of us. We basically didn't meet anyone else. But what did happen was that our bassist Troels, he lives on the island of Bornholm, and you have to go through Sweden basically to get there. So he was completely incapable of joining us in the rehearsal space. And that eventually was also a contributing factor to why he left. I guess that he kind of couldn't really participate at all at that point, and for most of the rest of the year, basically. But there were lots of other factors. But the rest of us, we still met, although we also took some breaks. I had a son at the same time as the pandemic, and
congratulations.
Thanks. But that also meant I was a bit away, and a bunch of other stuff basically happened. So it was a bit off and on, I guess. And the whole writing process was also a bit like stuttered, because we had to, and when the society started reopening, we then had to play some weird one-off gigs, and that had been moved or rescheduled or whatever, like when the pandemic hit. So it was kind of a process where it was quite interrupted, I would say, yeah.
You mentioned the trumpets and the other guest performances on the album. Do you want to say who contributed these instruments?
Yes, so the trumpet is a great guy called Peter. Yeah, he also played on ear, and he's played with us live a few times. He's a cool guy, and yeah, he laid down the trumpet, and the violin is a guy called Gunther, who is also a solo artist in his own right, and does some very cool stuff with his violin and lots of samples and effects. Yeah, he's also a very cool guy, very professional. And
your guitarists, Simon and Thijs, recorded the album themselves, right?
Yes. Yeah. Also, Thijs recorded the bass.
Thijs played all the bass on the album?
Yes.
Okay.
And the guitars.
Do they have their own home studios, or did they go to a separate studio?
I mean, we have a small studio, the three of us. So we recorded some of the leads, and we recorded the bass there. All the rhythm guitars and the drums were recorded in a professional studio called Black Tornado Studio, where we also recorded the rhythm parts for ear. And the vocals were mostly recorded in a small hut that we borrowed from a friend of ours, where we had a whole day and a night basically just screaming. So that was quite fun out in the middle of nowhere.
Well, why did you choose to record the vocals there?
I think it's because he offered it basically, and we wanted to seclude ourselves a bit for the vocals, instead of doing it in some studio or in our own studio, where you can also just go home after some hours and do the easy thing. We wanted to get away, get inspired, see some nature, and just go full on with the vocals. And we were also kind of, when we do vocals, we also often write lots of the lyrics, or adapt them or change them around. So it's kind of, we needed to be inspired to do that, I think, but it turned out very well.
Cool. I'm curious, back to the trumpet and the violin. At what point in the process do you guys decide to include these kinds of instruments?
Very early, I think, yeah. So we had it on ear as well, and we definitely wanted it on this one as well, preferably more of it. And we got that, especially on this third composition. Yeah, there's lots of violin and trumpet there.
So you guys recently did a small tour of Denmark, is that right?
Yes, and a bit of Norway.
Denmark, Norway, okay. Adapting your music to the live setting, you mentioned bringing in the guest contributors when you can. Is it a challenge playing your music live, especially with these long songs?
Yes, I would say it is a challenge, yeah, for sure. We need to be quite well rehearsed, and we need to have lots of endurance, basically. So we don't have really breaks when we play live either. It's more, one complete performance. So we need to be, pretty sharp, and we need to, be enduring. Especially, I play the drums, so it's physically slightly challenging playing 1.5 hours of this kind of music. But also the other guys, because they're like, going crazy, riffing and growling and screaming and stuff. It's not easy for them either. Yeah, but I want it to be a challenge, basically. I don't want to, shouldn't do a performance and then afterwards, or at least when we're doing it, I don't want to be relaxed or, bored. We should give something of ourselves.
What's the most fulfilling part of playing this music live for you?
It's a good question. I love it. It's cathartic in a sense, and it makes me feel alive. And it also makes me very thankful when people show up, and when it's visible that the music resonates, the music that we created, the three of us, the four of us, when it resonates with people, and you can see it touches them, and they say the same to you after the show. I think that's very rewarding. It makes you feel connected.
So that's a good place to end. Intet, Altet is out now through Interdisciplinarian Records. Adam, how can people order the album? What's the best way to get it?
So you can order it from our Bandcamp. There's both the CD and the cassette, and there's a pre-order for the vinyl, which comes in 2 flavors with different artwork and color for the vinyl itself. And it can also be ordered from our record company Interdisciplinarian on their web store. Yeah, and you can listen to it also on streaming, on the streaming providers and stuff, if you like. And
as far as the different versions of the vinyl, is there a limited color version?
Both versions are limited, I think, as to 300 each. And the one is with kind of a black artwork, so that's kind of the Intet edition. So it has a black artwork and a white vinyl, and the other one is the Altet edition, which has a white artwork and a black vinyl. Am
I understanding you correctly that the one side is black and one side is white? Or, not side, but
no.
For the double album, one album is black and one version is white?
Yeah, so there's 2 versions of the LP, and one has artwork that's white and the vinyls are black. And the other version has artwork that's black and the vinyls are white.
Okay. Gotcha. Sorry, I was confused for a second. I thought you meant that one disc was...
yeah.
One disc was black and one disc was white. Okay, I gotcha. And if people want to follow Orm online, what's the best way to do that?
So you can what's called, follow us on Bandcamp. That's pretty cool. And we also have Facebook and Instagram accounts. That's pretty much it, I think. Yeah.
Cool. Is there anything else you want to say?
I think you should check out the new album, of course. Yeah, support us in any way you can. Listen, stream, or buy, or whatever. Yeah, just first of all, check it out. See if it's something for you. You should set aside some time. I think it's best if you, the preferred way I listen to it is, doing nothing else a while. Because it's kind of a mammoth. So it requires a bit of patience and concentration. But then if you give it that, I think you'll be very pleased with the experience.
Very cool. Talk to me, kids.
Sorry, what?
Oh, never mind. I was trying my Danish, but apparently it's not the same. Tak? Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah, tak. Yes.
Tak. Take care. Thanks, Adam.
Okay, bye.